Well, what a way to finish the home and away season. It's been a dramatic final day. There's been jubilation, heartbreak and nervous waits. But the scene now is set for a blockbuster final series and we're here to unpack it all. This is Access All Areas Live, thanks to Crypto.com. Great to have your company. Damian, Barrett and Matthew Lloyd are here and it all came down to 9 hours on a Sunday. 9 dramatic, emotion-charged hours to decide the final 8. It started in Ballarat. The Dogs did what they needed to do against the Giants to lock in their spot in the 8. Over at Marvel, it was the Saints and Jack Higgins ripping out the heart of the Blues. Look at that poor little fella there and giving Freo fans a chance to dream. They were up and about at Optus, but it wasn't to be for the Dockers. Port ending their season and giving the Blues a September ticket. Damo, this season has been insane and what a final few hours we had.
Now, who needs a wildcard round? We just had a wildcard round. Games 206 and 207 of a 207-game home and away season were the wildcard round, and we had it. And there was organic drama, real drama, genuine drama. We don't need another round.
Blues fans were on the edge of their seat, Lloydie.
They were, and they get there now, and we're going to look at who they potentially get back in the next couple of weeks after a bye. But this is as wide open a top 8 as we've seen. Now we're there. I just think that, for me, the advantage comes whoever wins that first final between Sydney and the Giants is my premiership favourite. They're the two best sides in it for mine.
And these are the matchups. Obviously, this is as we go live to air tonight. These games are still being decided when and where. When, but. The first game there, the Sydney Swans-Giants game, guys, I believe that game will be the twilight game on the Saturday, the one to the right of screen there. The other qualifying final most likely will be the Thursday night game. You go to the Brisbane Lions-Carlton game, and that, I believe, will be the Saturday night game, which leaves the Western Bulldogs-Hawthorn game for the Friday. And that's all in play as we speak live tonight, not yet signed off on.
It'll all be dropped on afl.com.au and the AFL Live app, so keep checking back for that. But let's talk about Port Adelaide and that final game of the season. It was an arm wrestle and it just wasn't meant to be for the Dockers. But Port Adelaide lock in second place on the ladder, Lloydie, and there were some crucial moments in the final term.
Oh, there was. So he was enormous, young Logan Evans in this game. You see Butters get inside and Willie Rioli was the star at the end of the game. I think Jason Horne-Francis was the best man on the ground to half-time, but they needed a player to stand up, and it was Willie Rioli kicking 2 goals to end the game. Jordan Sweet kicked the winner, who did a good job in the ruck. But what a performance, what a season by Port Adelaide.
It's extraordinary, Lotto. 6 wins in a row now going into that qualifying final. It's 8 wins from their past 9. If you go back to round 15, their now infamous loss by 79 points to the Brisbane Lions at the Adelaide Oval, where the fans were booing Ken Hinkley and maybe aspects of the team, to get to this stage now where they've finished the season in second spot with a home qualifying final.
Have we given them enough credit?
I think we've been a wake up to what they've been doing since that moment. I mean, they won their 2 matches after that loss to the Brisbane Lions, and then they haven't lost since they lost that third one after that. So, yeah, I think we have, and it's been that sort of season where if you got on a roll, as they did, they've ended up finishing, in the right spot.
Lloydie, last year their Achilles heel was probably their defence, but you were impressed with their backline tonight.
I was tonight, but Josh Tracy wasn't there, and I thought this cost Fremantle. They really didn't have a presence down there. You see Sturt and you see Voss, but I want to give credit to Zerk Thatcher. I thought it's what he came to the club for. He was good. Miles Bergman, what a player he is. Evans, as I've just touched on, was superb. And you look at it, they lost Kane Farrell during the game, which really hurt them. So now they've got no Kane Farrell, who did his hammy, no Dan Houston. Lear was getting around with a bit of a sore ankle, so they'll need the week off, those guys. But they stood up really tall tonight.
What about Blues fans? If you are a Blues fan right now, I'm sure you are just absolutely drained emotionally, because it was a roller coaster, Lloydie. They were out and then they were in, and it all came down to that Port Adelaide game. Of course, they were all donning Port Adelaide scarves and the like, but these moments here, as you take a look, I mean, look at that mark. There were so many crucial moments in the final 10 minutes of this game.
And this was the one they thought where they Motlop got his goal, and with the time on the clock remaining, I think Blues fans started to believe. But then they had this moment here where Brodie Kemp, the hero of last week, coming from the back line to kick 4 goals against West Coast, got a free kick, either here, there or not there, whatever it was. He was given the kick and then he absolutely shanked it, Lotto.
Yeah, it was a bad moment. He's fortunate. That should have sealed the game, that goal from Kemp. He missed it, would have put them 10 points up. Phillippo had the game on his boot to end it for them. I'm going to talk through this play. play here. Ryan Burns gets it in, and Jack Higgins, he was sort of trying to play as a tall all night. He couldn't get it, but in the end, this is his bread and butter. Amazing goal, which broke the hearts of the Blues. And I thought the Saints played too safe in the last quarter. The Blues kept coming. And then here, what a smother here from Jones to win the game for St Kilda, but the Blues live to fight another day.
Only Jack Higgins could kick a goal like that. With 40 seconds to go, in my head I was thinking, where is Jack Higgins right now? So can you unpack for us what went wrong for the Blues in that last sort of 60 seconds or so?
They are so fortunate, Nat. It was unforgivable what I saw in the last 30 seconds at the stoppage. So every player should be accounted for. And I look at Ryan Burns here. He comes in and say, how does that happen? Look, 29 seconds on the clock. This is how it happens. This is Jesse Motlop. That's his opponent, Ryan Burns. Ryan Burns is a left footer. I'd be pushing him either in the back or getting goal side of him. That is just unforgivable from the kid. And he's fortunate that, look how far off he is. He is fortunate that they got through and Fremantle couldn't win tonight. So that's the first mistake. The ball goes in. You want to ask, how does someone like Jack Higgins get free all alone? Well, Adam Sard's the other one who dodged a massive bullet tonight. We're going to go behind the goals again and watch Adam Sard's mistake. So Jesse Motlop made a big mistake. Here's Sard in a wonderful position. That's everything you want from a small defender. So the ball goes in. Jack Higgins, they go up. Well, Jack Higgins ends up here. Adam Sard ends up here. You have to play this out. You've got to stay with Jack Higgins. You don't give smalls like Jack Higgins the time and the space. Ball goes over. Jack Higgins, it's all he needs, a split second to kick that goal. And look where Adam Sard is with his hands on his heads. So both Motlop and Sard got out of jail tonight.
Fantastic vision, isn't it, to see what Michael Voss will be dealing with in the 2 weeks before they play that first final.
And he should go as hard as he would have normally because they're up against the Brisbane Lions. That's Bailey, that's Charlie Cameron, so you can't afford to play like that.
Well, let's talk about the cavalry that might be coming back in for the Blues, Damo, because as we know, they have been savaged by injury late in the season. And this is a very nice looking list if some of these players come back in.
Yeah, I mean, you see the first name on the list and you know what he can do, but you also know he's been playing banged up with an ankle injury that he had even before he went down 2 weeks ago. Mackay, we expect to come back. Chera, we expect. Tom De Koning, we expect to come back. McGovern missed this week, just gone. Jack Martin always got...
Is Sam Doherty a real chance?
He spoke today, Nat, and refused to rule the possibility out. It's a massive call to make, given he went down in round one against the opponent they'll play in the elimination final at the same venue. It was way back in opening round when he first did his knee for the third time, and now we could have a scenario where he's back. And
remembering that game in opening round, Carlton fans will remember that Harry Mackay kicking that goal and that he was the hero in a 1-point victory. To Ballarat now, and for the Bulldogs, the equation on Sunday was simple. They just had to beat the Giants. They got the job done. Bontempelli and Ed Richards, Lloyd, were immense in the midfield. 17 score involvement, 15 inside 50s, 15 clearances and 3 goals between them.
Ed Richards may well be the biggest improver in the game. 29 disposals, 2 goals. On Bontempelli, 11 clearances, 9 score involvements. When they lost Daniels out of the game, he pulled out before the game, and Toby Bedford pulled out.
That was a big loss.
Yeah, 2 big losses. That cost them. It didn't give them a chance because the Bulldogs midfield was just far too strong. I'm actually disappointed that it's a Dogs-Hawks first final because they're both going that well. I would have liked to have seen them both progress further. Going really well.
What about their defence? Because Rory Lobb, Damo, has been moved back into that defensive lineup. And then, of course, Liam Jones stood tall as well. And they limited Jesse Hogan, who had been averaging 4 goals in the past 7 weeks. He only kicked 2 goals.
Yeah, and you talk about key moves within a season, and the Lobb move is the move of the season. It was arguably through necessity when it first happened, but now it's just through sheer class that he's got. And he was a key player. So too was that mark there in that point in time. Although that man on screen, Liam Jones, if he is to clear the match review office, and I don't think he can on what we're about to see here with this tackle on Cadman early in the piece. Now, Cadman got up and had the kick and kicked the goal from that resultant free kick. But when we line that tackle up, and I know there's never, ever a situation where 2 tackles are the same week on week, but the Giants player Lockie Ash last week on Hayden Young had a tackle that we're going to have a look at now, and there's a similar element to this. And this was put through the match review office and through the tribunal, and he was given a week and as such missed the game of football yesterday.
They are very similar, aren't they,
Yeah.
Lloydie?
So, and Young got up and played out the game too there. So, again, we don't wish that upon Liam Jones. It would be his first final in a very good career in 200 games.
Yeah, he's never played a final, as you say, but looks like he should get a week, Nat, unless they can argue, which I'm not sure what they'll come up with there.
So the Dogs will play the Hawks, who will feature in September for the first time since 2018. And Hawthorn's story, or Hawk story, as I should say, is an incredible one because they were 0-5 to start the season. And what Sam Mitchell has been able to do, 13 of their last 15 games they've won, and obviously a 124-point win against North Melbourne. But Lloydie, this has been quite incredible.
It is incredible. They're confident, they're fit, they're skilled. They've got a really fit list. We're talking about CJ might come back, Will Day should come back. So they just got everything covered. The only thing we talk about potentially is where they stand with trying to stop Aaron Norton, Jamarra Ugle-Hagan, Sam Darcy. So can they cope with that?
Are you concerned about that aspect?
I am concerned about it because there's not too many who have three tall forwards that are that good.
Yeah. I mean, what we're showing here is against North Melbourne, which finished second last and has won 15 matches in the past 5 seasons. So, but they've done it against other opponents this year, haven't they? That free-flowing nature, not 124-point nature, but equally 60 and 70 points.
Yeah, they'll perform well. Yeah, they are going as well as any team in the competition right now.
Is there any chance, because they've played, I guess, so many mini-elimination finals in the last sort of 3 to 4 weeks, is there any chance they've already run their finals race?
Well, that's why I don't believe. I know many feel they can go all the way and have a Cinderella story. That's why I don't believe they will, because they've pretty much played elimination finals every. Yes, they get the break, but I think they may be able to win one final. I can't see them winning more.
I reckon they got stronger on the back of playing those finals now. I think it's actually empowering for them.
And just to clarify, you had the Hawks finishing wooden spoon on the ladder.
I did. Right? I got that completely wrong, but I think you had them third last.
Yeah,
you support
we all got it wrong. Who would have seen that? No, it's a brilliant story. From one team that hasn't got the scoring issues to one that does, and that is the Brisbane Lions. And Lloydie, I think you've been quite concerned for a few weeks now, but their inaccuracy is something they need to fix quickly. 11-21 against the Bombers.
It's frustrating because they should be top 4, and they're better than that. They're better than what they are 5th on the ladder. Their talent is undeniable, and that's their set shot. So that's when you need to stand up in finals. It's they're ranked 18th, and then this is the Stars that are saddling up for the final series. And look at them; they're all Jesse Hogan's a 75% shot. These games are so tight, and yet the two key forwards are right down the bottom for set shot takers.
They should be playing a home qualifying final in week 1 of the finals, not a home elimination final. And you've been all over this. The club itself has now widely and openly acknowledged it, but only because it's so obvious. They weren't prepared to talk about it too much until you can't do anything but talk about it, Lauder.
Yeah, now it's a hard road. It's a hard road to the MCG on grand final.
How do you fix this? And is it contagious when one player starts missing? Does that sort of filter through the rest of the group?
Yeah, absolutely it does. It keeps the opposition in it. The drive you get from a player kicking a goal, the energy comes in. You go back to the centre. Rather than that, you're defending a kick in. There's so many aspects to what it does, and it does dip your confidence. And I can see it's right through the team at the moment. And it's gone on for so long, I can't see them fixing it come finals time.
Well, at the top of the ladder sit the Sydney Swans. They've claimed the minor premiership in 2024. And after a little slump, they've won their last 2 games. Damo, are they still the team to beat for yours?
Yes, they are. Yeah, their past 3 weeks and their final 3 weeks of the season, Nat, proved that. They got through that 7-week patch where they were quite ordinary. But they played the good players, including that man who's just kicked that great goal. He had a great season, Chad Warner. They rested Isaac Heaney for this game. They took out a man that Laudo's going to speak about in a moment, Tom McCartan. But they're good to go. They should get Papley back. They should get McInerney back. They will get Heaney back. They're hitting the ground really hard.
Bit of a selection squeeze there.
Yeah, there'll be a problem to be had, I think, for Taylor Adams potentially, and maybe a Caden Cleary.
Yeah, definitely not Luke Parker, who's been brilliant. Looking at Sydney's back line, and we mentioned Tom McCartan, Lloydie, how important is he to their premiership hope?
Yeah, I just thought I'd raise it tonight because everyone wants to talk about Amadi and McDonald and McLean. Are they up to it? But I just thought down the other end, this man will probably play on Jesse Hogan in the first final. So if they didn't have someone like him, I worry about the rest of them. They're a great defence, but just the size you need from McCartan. I think he needs to have a big final series to take down the big boys of the opposition for the Swans to win the premiership. So hopefully he's not, he can be health free and not get a head knock or anything like that, because he's so important to them.
To the Cats now, and they locked away a top 4 spot, of course, with that win over the Eagles. It was comprehensive, but it was a chance for the Geelong faithful down at the Cattery to say farewell to Tom Hawkins, who's been an absolute champion of that football club. He's retiring at the end of the season. The injury list that I've seen on afl.com.au last week says he was 1 week away with that foot injury. So the crypto.com bold call this week, it's the question on everyone's lips, Damo. Will Chris Scott bring him back for a final, or will he stick with Shannon Neal?
I feel the latter, Nat, and as unfortunate and as non-nostalgic and romantic as that is, that man on screen, I feel, has helped this club get his mojo back after a bit of a lull in the season, after they had that 7-win start to it, which fell away. But I think he's given it a vibrancy, Lordo. I think he's teamed really well, and equally, I think Jerry McCameron has had as good a time at Geelong without Tom Hawkins there, as sad as that sounds.
He's just missed too much footy.
Yeah.
So I think as a key forward in particular, you lose your touch. He wasn't playing that well before he went out, so I think, Shannon Neal will get the first nod at it.
And another big man we want to talk about is Reece Stanley. He's been back in the side, Lloydie, for a month now. His last 2 weeks have been terrific. Can we trust him when it comes to finals footy?
I'm not sure, and that's a big question. So 2 of his last 3 weeks have been outstanding. He's been arguably Geelong's most influential player in 2 of those games, but will we get to the end of the final series and go, they were just short again? So he's up against Jordan Sweet in the first final, so that wouldn't scare him too much. But can he take them through like he did a couple of years ago to another premiership?
The fact that he's an established ruckman, although I know he's been maligned, but he's got a 200-game career behind him already. He is a premiership ruckman, and the midfielders that are waiting at his feet know where he's going to hit the ball more likely than they did when Sam De Koning was getting that stint in the ruck.
So it's been an incredible season 2024, and of course there's still more to come with September action, but I want to get from each of you your biggest disappointments for 2024. Damo, I'll start with you.
Yeah, in order, Nat. Adelaide, Melbourne, Gold Coast, North Melbourne and Richmond.
I love how you had like half the...
They're ordered, yeah.
Well, Fremantle fans would be sitting at home and go, we've just lost our last 4. We only had to win one of our last 4 and we're now not playing finals. And I thought the Bombers' second half of the season as well was unforgivable.
When it comes to crypto.com tipping, I don't think we need to show the leaderboard, because I think we all know how it's in. Well done, Damo. I don't know how you did this, because you're usually terrible at tipping.
I'm usually down the bottom of it, Nat. So,
what was different this year? What was your pre-season like?
Geelong. He backed
Geelong and the Swans early.
You were drinking the Kool-Aid. Have you been texting Chris Scott for your tips each week?
No, I just tip them every week. So.
I don't know. Well, that is all we have time for on Access Areas tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back in our regular time slot on a Monday to preview all the finals. In the meantime, have a great week and enjoy the AFLW.
Want to get all the latest footy news in one hit? From injuries to breaking news, the latest from the coaches, the Footy Feed team has you covered. Watch it now on afl.com.au and the AFL Live app, or wherever you get your podcasts.